Have you ever ended a call thinking I did everything right, but then the customer vanished without a trace? You spoke enthusiastically, presented thoroughly, but silence was the only response you received. If that sounds familiar, congratulations. You're being eliminated without knowing why. In today's sales world, customers don't reject you with words. They reject you with feelings. And that feeling begins within the first 3 seconds. No one tells you this, but very likely, it's the way you open, the way you speak, the way you show up, that quietly gets you disqualified before anything even starts. Worse, you repeat it every day without realizing. If you're still selling by instinct, it's time to change before the market replaces you. Part 1. Voice alignment. Voice is the first emotional transmitter that bypasses all technical barriers. It doesn't just carry content. It carries emotions, heartbeat, and even your energy state. In sales, what customers receive first is not what you say, but how you say it. When your tone doesn't match their rhythm, a subtle disconnect forms. They may not feel offended, but they will feel a lack of fit. And within just a few seconds, if this alignment isn't there, the opportunity to connect ends before you truly begin. The scary part is that you can be silently rejected just because your voice is out of sync. Customers won't say you're too fast, too loud, or too intense, but they'll withdraw emotionally. A soft-spoken, calm person may feel threatened if you speak quickly and forcefully. A high-energy person will feel bored if you speak monotonously. A mismatched voice triggers the brain's defense system, prompting instinctive rejection. And you'll never know why you failed. It's an invisible but serious loss. The solution is not to change your nature, but to adjust with intention. When starting a conversation, scan the other person's vibe, how fast they speak, how loud, whether their voice is low or high. Then, flexibly synchronize. If they speak softly, tone it down. If they speak firmly, raise your energy. You don't need to mimic them. Just create a sense of familiarity. This makes them feel, this person is on my wavelength. Voice alignment is the first step to building trust, without any promises. To develop this skill, you need to practice in real environments. Record your calls. Then listen back and evaluate which parts generated a positive response and how your voice sounded at that moment. Set a goal within the first 10 seconds. You must match rhythm. Practice adjusting volume, pace, and tone across different situations. Once this becomes reflex, you'll no longer face silent rejections. Customers will open up, not because of what you say, but because you made them feel safe from the beginning. Your voice is the welcome mat you lay out before inviting the customer into a conversation. If it's wrinkled and rough, they'll stay at the door. If it's smooth and friendly, they'll come in and listen. This isn't an auxiliary skill. It's the foundation of all effective sales processes. Someone may not be a great presenter, but if they match frequency with the customer, they can still make the sale. Voice is an invisible force that creates tangible impact. Ignore it, and you're blocking the door to communication from the very first seconds. Start applying this right in your next call. Before dialing, ask yourself, who am I about to speak with? Are they quiet or enthusiastic? And when the conversation starts, instead of rushing to introduce yourself, take a few seconds to listen. Based on that, adjust your breathing speed and volume. This simple step brings powerful effects. After a few calls, you'll notice better customer responses, more nods, more natural replies. That's a sign you're finally speaking the right way. Part 2. Energy and vibe alignment. Vibe is the energy field surrounding each person. It doesn't show in words, but it's the first signal a customer perceives. Someone entering a room with wide strides, sharp eyes, and a firm handshake. They radiate proactive, decisive energy. Another person slightly bows, speaks softly, moves gently. They emit a cautious, inward frequency. If you fail to recognize that and impose your own vibe on them, resonance won't occur. And once energy misaligns, communication breaks at the surface level. What disconnects customers is not content, but the feeling of this person is not on my wavelength. That's the result of a vibe mismatch. You laugh loudly while they're serious, you rush in while they're reserved. These differences make customers uneasy. Even with good intentions, they may feel attacked or disturbed. Incompatible vibes are why many good salespeople still fail. You can prepare the perfect script, but if energy doesn't match, you'll never get a chance to move forward. To improve, refine how you show up. Before saying anything, observe, are they standing upright or leaning, speaking evenly or with pauses, eyes confident or shy. Adjust your energy level to feel comfortable to them. With calm people, slow down. Gestures, lower volume, and don't move in too quickly. With dynamic people, increase vocal power and response rate to sync rhythm. It's not about changing who you are, but translating your energy to meet them at a neutral point. Necessary action: train your energy reading ability daily. Whenever you meet someone, in the elevator, a cafe, or a meeting, observe their vibe within the first 5 seconds. Take notes. What feeling do they give off? Then try to match vibe by adjusting facial expressions, posture gestures, or tone. No need to speak. Just align states and observe the effect. Once you're used to this, you'll be more flexible in modulating energy in sales. Every successful vibe sync is a step closer to trust. Vibe cannot lie. Customers don't need to analyze, they just need to feel. Does this person fit me? And that feeling doesn't come from words, but from presence. When you align vibes, the atmosphere calms, attention deepens, and customers open up. Compatible vibes not only smooth the opening, but also keep emotional flow steady throughout. When two people share energy, words become lighter, persuasion easier, and the sales journey smoother. Part 3. Breaking the pattern. Today's customers don't hear from just one salesperson a week. They deal with dozens. And due to so many similar experiences, their brains develop a default script for reaction. The moment you begin a call or meeting with a greeting they've heard far too many times, they instantly retreat into defensive mode. They nod, they smile politely, but they're no longer truly listening. You've fallen into the same mold used by hundreds of others. And from that moment on, you're almost already out. The feeling of just another salesperson is a killer of attention. Every overly familiar phrase, every cliched opening pushes you further into the zone of silent rejection. When customers hear, "Hello, I'm," or "I'd like to introduce," they know what's coming and they lose interest. This is no longer a rational response. It's psychological defense. Customers don't want to be persuaded. They want to be respected, to have a genuine conversation, not a scripted one. The more you blend in with the crowd, the more invisible you become. To break the pattern, you must show up in an unexpected way. Not through shock or gimmicks, but through subtle difference. Instead of asking about health, try something deeper. I'm curious, how has your industry been shifting lately? Or simply open with a slow, sincere line. I'll get straight to the reason I'm calling, if that's all right with you. Such pauses wake up the customer's brain, snap them out of autopilot, and spark attention. Surprise creates real opportunity. Don't wait for inspiration to break the mold. Train it like a tactic. Write down at least 3 opening styles that no one else uses, but still feel authentic to you. Test each one with 3 different groups of customers. Record reactions, refine, and keep experimenting. Start breaking patterns from small things. How you say your name, how you start emails, even how you pause. The goal is not to impress, but to awaken attention. When the customer truly hears you for the first time, that's when selling truly begins. Part 4. Focusing on them. Customers don't care about your product, your company, or your dream. They care about themselves. The unspoken question behind every interaction is, what's in it for me? This is the fundamental principle that drives all buying behavior. Not because you didn't say enough or weren't persuasive enough, but because you didn't touch the core of their inner world. If you open by introducing yourself or listing features, you're shooting yourself in the foot. The focus must be on them, their thoughts, goals, pain points, and unspoken dreams. A deep reason why many calls fail is that sellers are too eager to showcase themselves. They go on about company history awards, system scale, while the customer sits there waiting for one thing. How well do you understand me? Every second you spend talking about yourself is a second pushing the customer further from empathy. They don't want to hear a pitch. They want to feel heard, to have their problems acknowledged, and to be the center of the conversation. Without that, everything you say becomes noise. To pivot successfully, shift the entire story toward them. Ask the right questions. What's the biggest challenge in your current process, or what's the first thing you're looking to improve? Lead with real-life experiences instead of theoretical features. Every piece of information you share must link to something specific in their world. Talk less about solutions, more about the problems they're grappling with. When they feel you're delving into their real story, trust will emerge naturally. Use the perspective shift technique in your speech. Instead of saying, "We provide a solution that improves efficiency," say, "This will help you reduce processing time by 30%. Start every sentence with, "You will," instead of, "We have." This subject shift creates a subtle transformation. You place the customer in the lead role. And when they see themselves at the center, they begin to imagine using your solution. That's when you no longer need to sell. They already see themselves in the product. To master this skill, build a pain map for each customer group. Write down the 3 to 5 most common challenges they face. Connect each challenge with a deep, open-ended question that helps them explore emotion. Then practice linking your product benefits to those exact issues. In your presentations, don't just say what, say why it matters to them. Drill this mindset in every call, every script. When your focus shifts to the customer, they will pull you closer to their world. True connection doesn't happen when you speak well, but when customers feel valued. When they see you speaking their language, placing them at the heart of the conversation, an emotional bridge is built. And that emotion becomes the catalyst that makes them share more, listen more deeply, and open up to your suggestions. This isn't a speaking technique, it's a sensing skill. Elite sales don't depend on what you say, but who you say it to, and how you help them see themselves in it. Part 5. Mirroring and paraphrasing the customer. In sales, whoever creates the feeling of "I am heard" wins. When a customer shares a difficulty, they're not looking for an instant solution. They want acknowledgement. And the most powerful technique to convey that is mirroring and paraphrasing what they say. When you repeat their exact phrase or rephrase it in simpler terms, you make them feel understood. They think, "This person is really listening." And in that moment, defenses crack, making way for trust. Failing to mirror is a silent but deadly mistake. You might listen, take notes, and respond correctly. But if you don't reflect their language, you miss the chance to confirm, "I got it right." Customers won't know you grasped the severity of their issue unless you say it back in their terms. Paraphrasing is how you refine and verify understanding. It brings clarity and adds depth to the conversation. No longer just Q&A, but a true dialogue. To apply this technique effectively, learn to spot the right moments. When customers express emotion, emphasize a point, or repeat something, that's your cue to reflect. For example, they say, "We're overwhelmed by a clunky process." You can reply, "The process is overloading your team." Is that right? Immediately, they'll elaborate. Exactly. Especially our ops team. They manually process hundreds of data rows each week. With mirroring, you don't just listen. You open space for them to go deeper. Train this skill by replaying recorded calls. Choose sections where customers share and write 2 responses. 1 direct repetition and 1 paraphrase. Practice this 3 times daily. Also, during real conversations, set a goal at least 2 intentional mirrors or paraphrases per session. Once mastered, your conversations will feel more like consultations, where clients feel heard, respected, and naturally led toward a solution. Part 6. Creating a continuous feedback loop. One fatal sales mistake is talking too much without checking whether the customer is still with you. You may present clearly and to the point, but if you don't know whether they understand, agree, or are following all efforts, could vanish into the void. Feedback loops are the tool that maintains dialogue alignment. A short question like, "Does this part make sense to you?" can be a golden pause that brings customers back on track and into real conversation. Without a feedback loop, your talk becomes a monologue. Customers hear you but don't truly connect. Especially in long presentations, if you don't pause to check in, you won't know if they followed since minute 3. They'll nod out of politeness, keep a courteous smile, but internally they've checked out. And when you finally ask, what do you think their safest choice is avoidance? All your persuasive efforts before that moment are wasted in silence. The solution is to turn feedback loops into a habit. After each major point or key message, insert a prompt for feedback. Simple ones like, "Does this reflect your situation? Sound reasonable so far? What's your take on this part?" These aren't about right or wrong. They keep the customer actively engaged. When they respond, you can adjust pace, elaborate, or expand direction. A feedback loop isn't just a question. It's a steering tool for emotion and logic. To practice this skill, build a question library for each stage of your call or meeting. Before presenting, mark fixed pauses for input. During the conversation, observe facial cues, tone changes, or subtle shifts to ask spontaneous questions. After every meeting, self-assess how many feedback loops did you use. Did they generate new insights or prompt the customer to say more? Analyzing these reactions will help you improve conversation quality per client per meeting. Feedback loops aren't just technical tricks. They're the lifeblood of successful communication. They help customers not just listen, but respond. Not just absorb, but engage. Every question you ask is an invitation to open up. When repeated consistently, customers begin to feel this is no longer a presentation, but a collaboration. And when you manage the rhythm through feedback, you're no longer a seller. You become a strategic partner. Consensus is built through each beat, each question. If you still think selling is a game of persuasion, you're a decade behind. These 6 steps are not techniques. They are how you become deep enough, genuine enough, and smart enough to lead a conversation worth trusting. But here's the hard truth: most sellers won't pull it off, because it requires observation, patience, and self-regulation, not slick tricks. You'll hear many say, "I don't need to act like that to close deals." Then let them continue, and watch them be replaced by those who better understand human connection. Your choice: be noise on a call or the one who leaves the customer speechless after every sentence. The difference isn't in the product. It starts with you. Thank you for watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.